Hello everyone, I'm Alex and I do arty things. I haven't uploaded in over 2 months at this point. It has been too long. I have a few videos in the works. However, I happened to catch a case of burnout, a packed schedule, and some big life changes all at once. So I decided to take a break to just breathe. This is not my usual video or one I had planned on doing, a combination of a spur-of-the-moment decision and a need to talk things out. I'm not a fan of blabbing about things on the internet to strangers who never asked for it. However, this felt like a video I needed to make, and truthfully, one I wanted to make. I'm not going to sob over how bad my life is or anything remotely like that. My life's pretty dang good. I've just done some much-needed thinking and processing about my offline life, and more importantly in this case, about my online life and what direction I want to take with my content and art. I'm not really sure how I should put it, but I finally feel more in control of my life and my own choices. Being proactive, saying what I want, and then following through with it, instead of being reactive and letting others tell me where they think I should go. No longer allowing myself to follow someone else's path or hint at my desires, hoping someone will tell me how I feel and therefore be justified in feeling it. 7 out of 10 times, I will make a safer choice because I'd rather not deal with the unknown. Even if I find out a current choice isn't the right one for me, I will follow through because why would I change things now? I'm familiar with my situation, or someone else is happy with this. Or, I'll have to take a chance and risk something. So, I bury these feelings and be content. I'm very good at ignoring what I am feeling or thinking. It's hard for me to be quiet and listen to myself. Fixing these ingrained behaviors has been a big and scary change, not something I'm naturally good at. With each step, I feel somewhat more okay with the idea and more at peace with myself than I've ever been. And while this majorly takes place in my private life, it has also affected my art and content, which is what I'll be talking about. What art means to me, how it's changed, and how I want to grow. I think inspiration and the drive to create boils down to something I've always done. It lies somewhere deep within me, just like any other creative person. As a kid, I always doodled and messed around with my school pens and paper. I specifically remember my older sister showed me some of the pictures she'd draw, and she and my older brother did comics for a time. And it just woke something in me, a feeling of, yeah, I want to do that too. So I did. I mostly drew things like giant cakes, cats, fairies, mermaids, and what a little kid imagined fashion to be. That graduated when I discovered the world of anime, and a passion grew and consumed my mental space for years. Mark Crilly, Draw with Jazza, Love to Draw Manga, Christopher Hart. I spent hours watching and reading their content, practicing hour after hour, day after day, drawing after drawing. I made art my own. During this time, I had social media. Simple, closed communities and small websites I heard about. If anything, those had a very positive effect on my art. And for a while, I did not have any super close friends, so it was how I interacted with people. It was never really about what I could convey to the viewer or the internet. Characters I thought were cool, OCs I thought were cool, concepts I thought were cool, ideas I wanted to try. It was more like a visual journal of what I was doing in my head. If art is to encompass various forms of visual language to communicate ideas, emotions, and experiences, then my art was made for me to look at and interpret myself as a person. For the majority of my life, say 15 to 17 years, I have spent more time in my mind than truly being in the present. Art was, and still is, a way of getting out of my own head by making something physical. Something I can experience in the real world. To expand upon that idea, I soak up people and ideas around me. My core thoughts and feelings get lost in others. And so, I, at my most genuine, am often somewhere deep within, waiting for a quiet moment alone so I can allow myself to exist and be in the world. Without all the fancy, hard to understand, sappy way of putting it, most of the time I feel as though I am in my head observing the world through the lens of my eyes, trying to figure out how to do things and make the best decisions. Rarely, And almost always when I am alone, and the moment aligns, I can exist as though I am truly here. Not just observing and making decisions like a person playing an RPG game, a real human person connected to the world in time and space. Art is also an outlet for me to sit down and truly enjoy the things I like. I could tell you my whole life story and deepest personal thoughts, worries, and anxieties in a single conversation, but that's not the same thing as being truly vulnerable to me. So, it is also a form of indulging emotionally in something. At the lowest portion of my life, I lost my passion for art, yet I still created every single day, like I was searching for something deep within me. With each new piece, I discovered something new about myself, from the simple to the intense. Like a lot of artists' experiences, the bigger social media platforms like Instagram have had a positive but deep negative side effect on my art. I started to create art because I saw others doing it in a certain way, or saw a popular character bring one artist a lot of likes, or a trend that everyone else was doing. All of a sudden, I had incentives to create art for someone or something else. Likes and views, follows and shares. And with the ability to have someone view my art and criticize it, I subconsciously closed off my ability to express what I liked. I lost that creative vulnerability. And I've struggled to this day to regain that once authentic and important piece of my art. Now, I'm on the other side of one of the toughest parts of my life, mentally and emotionally. I'm busier than ever, and the friends I've made are slowly going their own ways, for better or worse. Some days I feel 16 going on 70. And yet, I'm tougher, stronger, and more mentally present. Throughout many struggles and pondering about the subject, I can feel my core belief about art settling into my nature and maturing alongside me. I see it in everyone, everything, consciously and unconsciously. I see it as something that can be beautiful or ugly, even after the person who created it is no longer on this earth. A picture is worth 1,000 words, they say, but it's less about the words. It's more of a feeling I get looking at a piece. Strolling through an art museum often brings a sense of peace, center, and wonder that I've never been able to place. It calms my inner world and soothes my creative soul. I'm surrounded by pieces of inner worlds expressed through something physical, art. If I originally started creating art for myself to look in and see this deeply vulnerable part of me, in the silly little stickmen, fairies, anime girls, and cutesy stuff, then now I want to be able to create art that, of course, still does that. But from now on, allow someone else to take away something from it. Even if it's just oh, that looks cool, I want to do that. I also want to be more creative while making art. At some point, I settled into a rut, a gray, dull, but safe, so-called process. Sketch, cleanup sketch, line art, flat colors, shading, finishing touches. And while this is a simplification, it boils down the core creation process I've had for the past 7 years. And I'll be honest, it's capped my abilities, and I'm bored. More importantly, I'm craving something new. More importantly, I yearn for art to be what it used to be. Fun. I want to open every door and not be afraid of what lies beyond. As Miss Frizzle would say, take chances, make mistakes, and get messy. I want this to be equally expressed in the content I make for YouTube. Of course, I need to think about whether a video is engaging, if the viewer is getting something out of it, if it's doing well in terms of numbers, if the video is relevant, and so on. However, I want to make videos that are also art. I want to tell a story, to let viewers see my ups and downs, and my creative process. Someday, I hope to have an audience that helps me create art and be a part of that process. Maybe have a community of like-minded individuals. Until that happens, I will continue to learn how to make art that reflects me truly and get in some much-needed practice. Level up my skills and such. Back on the grind, baby. To conclude, the best comparison I can think of is Minecraft. Once you hit Generate World, you're plopped down in a random spawn location. It's really only you and whatever exists out there. Every world is randomly generated, and they all have a certain rhyme and reason. Yet, here you are in this world, surrounded by a comfortable silence. Alone, but not lonely. You first gather supplies to survive, and then what you do after that is up to you. Some things can get you killed in the game, and there are things players usually avoid doing, but there isn't any real goal that ends the game. And to me, there's a similar feeling in art. You start with whatever you have in your hand, a piece of paper, markers, crayons, pencils, glue, fabric, bottle caps, to a random rock on the street. And the rest is up to whoever is holding it.